Welcome back. After losing a 3-game series against the 19th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, the number 12 Missouri softball team looked to regain their momentum as they hosted the number 18 Baylor Bears this past weekend. And regain their momentum they did, as they made quick work of the Bears, sweeping them in a 3-game series and outscoring them by a total of 17-3. Chelsea Thomas continued her all-world performance thus far as she struck out 10 Bears while allowing just 2 hits in Game 3. The Tigers continue their Big 12 play as they head to Texas later on this week to take on the Longhorns. Now in studio to talk more Missouri softball, we have our guest analyst, Josh McSwain. Josh, thank you for being here.
No problem.
We'll just jump right into it. The Tigers are 28-5 this year, with 3 of those losses coming to ranked teams. How do you think the year is going for them? Are they performing on par? Are they overachieving or underachieving?
I'd say their performance is about on par with what was expected. Interestingly enough, they haven't lost a single game at home all season, but in their 4 true road games, they have split them with a 2-2 record. They dropped 2 of 3 against A&M, as you mentioned, and they won against Arkansas and Fayetteville. Now, there is some hootenanny with the RPI poll. Mizzou's ranked 18th, which is behind DePaul, who is 18-11. So, I mean, don't place a whole lot of emphasis on polls in determining how well the team is doing.
Right. You mentioned their success at home. But looking ahead, the Tigers have 3 straight series away later this month at Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Oregon before returning home for 1 series and then jumping straight into NCAA regionals. What do they need to do to stay hot throughout the road trip so they can get the momentum going into regionals?
I really feel like they need to string some of these wins together before going into the regionals just to boost their confidence. I mean, Oklahoma is 30-4, and they're a very good team. Oregon's pretty good themselves at 23-7. But Iowa State's only 10-22. I really think they need to win all 3 of those games to, boost the team's confidence and morale. Because, I mean, they're probably not going to win all 6 against Oregon and Oklahoma.
Right. Now, the Tigers' pitching is without a doubt their strong point. But when we talk about offense, Missouri is kind of middle of the pack. What can the Tigers do to improve their offensive game? Play a little small ball, use some hit and runs? What would it take?
I think they need to be more aggressive on the base paths. If you look at stolen bases, they only average 1.55 per game. Jackson State leads the country with 2.77 per game. And moreover, if you look at the number of bases they've stolen 51 bases this year, and they've only been caught stealing 7 times. I mean, that's over 7 out of 8 times they're successful at stealing. I think they need to ramp that up.
Hopefully they can get that going to help support their pitching. As you know, Chelsea Thomas is having an amazing year so far. She has a sub-1 ERA and is striking out just an absurd number of batters. She's only a junior this year, so what do you see for her in the future, next year and beyond?
Well, she's already a member of the U.S. national softball team, and there's no reason why she shouldn't continue to be a member of the team. She has a very good chance to win All-American honors and has sealed up a place in Tiger history for sure. Unfortunately, softball and baseball have been dumped from the Olympics as of this summer's games, so unfortunately she won't have a chance for an Olympic gold this year, but, if something changes, she'd have a pretty good chance because I bet the USA could field a solid team.
That's certainly true. Once the regionals and super regionals come around, Chelsea can't pitch every other day like she does now. She starts on Friday and then occasionally she even starts on Sunday. Who do you see being the X factor for the Tigers down the stretch? It could be another pitcher that steps up or maybe even a position player.
I'm going to go with freshman second baseman Corinne Genovese. She chose Mizzou over other powerful programs like Oklahoma, Arizona, and Louisville. She was a 3-time Under Armour All-American in high school. She is only a freshman, but I feel like for such a coveted prospect, she needs to just take that next step forward the rest of this season and show the other schools what they're missing out on.
Right. Do you see Missouri making it to their 4th straight College World Series? And if so, what would it take for them to kind of get over the hump and come out victorious this time?
You know what, this year I don't see it. There's so many good teams. Cal, Washington, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, and Georgia all have very good teams. And even last year's champion Arizona State, they're still up there. Missouri is 6th nationally in ERA. But they've only hit 30 home runs all season, and they're 47th in the country in batting average. Yeah. And it'll be interesting next year because 4 of the teams I mentioned are in the SEC.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but it should be fun.
Maybe it's just not in the cards for him this year. And lastly, Missouri softball has been, without a doubt, one of the most consistently dominant programs in Missouri's athletics over the last few years. What should be done to give these girls a bigger following? How do we get more students to go to the game?
I just think they need more exposure in general. I remember seeing a lot of posters for the women's basketball team, and they struggled this year. I think just have posters and stuff like that for the basketball team and hang them up in classrooms around campus and all that. And I remember cups that were handed out to football games that had, 5 first-round picks from Mizzou within the last 3 years. Why not put accomplishments from the softball team like that on a cup at other athletic events or something like that? I mean, I think if you can put out that with a program that has been very successful recently, it might improve the overall perception of Mizzou athletics instead of, focusing on the men's basketball team, which unfortunately did not live up to expectations in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. And one thing that Major League Baseball teams do, for example, is they put the entire schedule on a cup. So for anyone who doesn't know the schedule, maybe they could do that. But Missouri certainly has a lot to look forward to for the rest of the softball season. Thank you again for being here. But for now, we're going to send on over to Tyler.
Rob.
All right, thank you very much, man. I'm here with 23 Sports analyst Daniel. Missouri baseball. Are you excited for opening day in the MLB though?
Oh yeah, mad excited, especially with the White Sox. They can be better than expected.
I can't say the same as a Mariners fan, but we shall get back to the collegiate world. The Missouri baseball team was after redemption over break. After losing by a combined score of 28-8 to High Point in Indiana State, the Tigers hosted Oklahoma State in what would be their first conference series of the year. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cowboys as starting pitcher Blake Holovach was merely 1 out away in the second game from pitching 2 consecutive complete games. The junior from Overland Park, Kansas, went 24 straight innings without giving up a run, as his streak was broken during Mizzou's only win in their 3-game series against 6th-ranked Texas A&M. The Tigers will take a 3-3 Big 12 and 16-11 overall record back to Taylor Stadium, where they will host the 21st-ranked Baylor Bears. Now, Daniel, Missouri, obviously with a 16-11 record, 5 games over 500, how would you rate their performance so far this season?
I'm giving them a solid B this year because they are about where they expected to be. They were picked to finish 5th in the Big 12 early in the preseason. The thing is, they're just not consistent. Well, they're consistently inconsistent in that they're 13-5 at home, but they're 3-6 on the road. That's just bad numbers. And the offense has been hot and cold. They've topped 8 runs more than 10 times, but they've been held under 4 9 times. So the offense needs that momentum to get going, or else they're just going to flounder. But the bullpen has been surprisingly lights out, and it's really helping the lackluster starting pitching.
Now, you mentioned consistently inconsistent. The Tigers right now have a dead-even conference record of 3-3. They took 2 out of 3 from Oklahoma State, but lost 2 out of 3 to 6th-ranked Texas A&M. What does Mizzou have to do to be more consistent in conference play?
That's tough because in the Big 12, no team's under 500 overall. Like, you have Oklahoma State, who's 1-5 in the Big 12 play. That's it. For example, Baylor, 9-0 in conference play, 22-7. Texas A&M, 22-6 in overall, 4-2 in conference play. So they just need to be more consistent. They need to get that momentum going. They need to have a consistent offense that can put 6 runs in back-to-back games instead of 12 in one and 0 in the other. They also need Holovach to not be the only starter that can win a game for them. Eric Anderson's not been too hot this year. He's been average. They've just been a team of average. So consistency, starting pitchers need to step up.
No question, you can't just be average in the Big 12 this year. But there are 6 Tiger players hitting over 300. There are 3 pitchers with an ERA under 3. Who's your MVP of the team so far this year? Who's really stepping up?
That's a tough call, especially with all the great hitters. 2 of those pitchers with the ERA under 3 are relievers, so I'm not going to consider them. But for me, it's between Blake Brown and Holovach. Brown's got like a 981 OPS, and that's just ridiculous right now. As a leadoff hitter, he has 23 RBIs to lead the team, 7 home runs. But meanwhile, Holovach, his ERA is 2.35. He's second on the team in innings pitched with 38. He's 5-0 in his starts. That's a good number because he's giving the team a chance to win every game. So you have to give it to Holovach because he's the only starter they can hand the ball and be confident in a victory that day instead of, say, Anderson, who can't win it. But they're also hitters to complement Brown if he were to go down.
Obviously, Brown and Holovach having terrific seasons as Tigers, but a lot of fans might not know who they are because the attendance hasn't been so hot. Now, the Tigers have 3 homestands left in the regular season, one coming up against 21st-ranked Baylor. Huge series. Is this the series being the most important for them, or is there another one that Tiger fans need to get out to?
Oh yeah, this is the series that the fans need to get out to. Trent Blank and Josh Hurley are both a devastating 1-2 punch for Baylor. And the Tigers, they live at home. They need that fan base to come out and give them the support, because Baylor's bullpen is also disgusting with 5 pitchers with an ERA under 1. The offense can't handle that unless they get the momentum going. So Mizzou just needs that home support to get them home. Figure of speech, I guess.
Now, obviously, the fans, they want to see a winning team. They want to see a team that can make it to the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Can this Missouri baseball team not only make it to the tournament, but even make somewhat of a run?
I'd say they definitely can. This is a team that thrives on momentum. When they start hitting hot at home, they kept rolling. When they start losing, they'll get beat bad. So I'd give them a pretty good 75-80% chance of making the NCAA tournament. And maybe even if their momentum can carry them to a Big 12 tournament title, because that would get them a national seed, which is very coveted. And same applies for the actual tournament too, because if they can get going, they could make a run at it, but they can also get shut down if they lose all that momentum. So this team just don't really know what's going to go on until they show you they can keep it up.
Well, I guess we're going to see what Missouri is really made of in the Big 12 Conference. Thanks for your time, Daniel, and thank you to Josh as well for talking some softball. After the break, Ben and I will discuss Missouri basketball. Do you think just because the season's over that we're done talking about them? Not a chance. Stay tuned.